Happy Sunday. How are you? This is not really a tutorial. It's just a little explanation of what I use and why. Because people seem to ask these questions all the time. What kind of thread do you use? What kind of needles do you use? What should I use for this? What should I use for that? So I'm just going to go over a little bit of what I use and why I use it and why I like it or why I don't, and yeah, that's it. So needles, let's start with needles. For years I used these long beading needles. They're about 2 inches long. They work very well. They're easy to control and hang on to. They're very thin. These are size 12s, which is extremely common, very, very common size. They work for almost every size of bead, even 15s. If you don't, you want to go to a smaller size, and the higher the number, the smaller the size of the needle. I have, in the past year and a half, I have changed. I've gotten away from these because they bend up, they just don't last like the needle I like now. These are made all over the place. Europe, Asia, everywhere you can buy them. But the needle I like now is the shorter English needle, just over 1 inch long. The diameter is the same, but the strength of the metal is much higher. They last 3 times as long. They're a little, I'm used to them now, but they do take a little practice because there isn't as much to hang on to as you're working. Some beaders like to use these just for finishing work because they're so short you can get into very small places. I use them for everything now. The longer needles, of course, you can put more beads onto them. But most of my work, I only work with, 5, 3, 2 beads at a time. So it's really not that important to me. I really like these smaller English needles, and again, this is a size 12 needle, and the metal is just stronger and more stable, and they last longer, so that's what I like to use. Thread. The most common beading thread, what lots of people like to use, is this little product called Nymo. It comes in lots of beautiful colors. Let me see if I can get this in a little bit. It is synthetic. It comes in different diameters, different weights. This is excellent thread to use for small projects, small weaving projects, or small stringing projects. I do not like this for anything bigger than 1 inch square. Why? Because it weakens, frays, and breaks. Also, I don't really know if this is completely synthetic, if it's 100% synthetic. I think it is. I'm not sure, but elements like sunlight and moisture can weaken it. So yeah, I don't know if it's 100% synthetic. It might, I don't know. If anybody knows, let me know. It's a great thread for small projects, not for big projects. I just don't like it for big projects, but I love the colors, and that's Nymo. Been around for years and years and years. Next one I use, this Fireline. Fireline is a fishing line you buy at the sporting supply stores. I like to use either 4-pound or 6-pound. 4-pound is a little narrower, and it does tangle a little bit easier, but it's a bonded fishing line. Where's my end? Right here. Let's see if you can see this on my finger. It is 0.15, 0.01, yeah, 0.15 millimeter wide, very wide. It comes in what beaders like to use. This is crystal. The name of this color is crystal, and it comes in a smoke color, which I don't have to show you, but it's like a gray, you know, a little darker. You can use it for your darker work. It's economical. I just bought this yesterday because I was out, and it has, because of inflation, thank you government, that it has grown in price probably 15-20%. I paid $15 for 125 yards. I used to pay $10 for 125 yards. Great, 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 great product. It is not as flexible as Nymo. Nymo is very flexible, very supple. You're going to get a lot of drape with the work. Fireline is going to be stiffer, and it's going to not give you as much drape, but it's great for weaving because you want that structure. You want things not to fall, you know, be all floppy. You want a little more structure. Fireline is great for that. My absolute favorite thread, but it's outrageously expensive, and it doesn't come in a whole lot of colors, in a very small quantity, is Wildfire by Beading. This is great thread. Hands down, this is fabulous thread. It is the same diameter, 0.15 as Fireline. However, for this, it's still $13-14 for only 50 yards. Even with a coupon, I end up running out of this before I finish a project. So I'm only going to use this for smaller projects and jewelry projects. I'm no longer going to use this for embroidery because it is just too expensive. It is not economical for those projects where you need a lot of thread, but you need the thread to hold up to abuse. Yeah, sure. Wildfire by Beading. Love it. Comes in black and white. Comes in a couple different diameters. I like the thinnest diameter. It is, even though it says it's 0.15, it is still slightly bigger than the Fireline. You can just tell. It's a little bit bigger. Now, this is what I'm working on currently. I'm working on a bag to make. This will be for sale, even though I'll probably cry. I like synthetic threads for these projects. I like synthetic materials for these projects. I like synthetic substrate. There'll be a synthetic lining. And the reason for that is because they won't rot. They will stand the test of time. They will be around for 100 years, and that's what I want. I don't want things falling apart if it gets a little wet or if it sits in the sun for a few hours. I want these things to be around for a long time. I spent a lot of time working on them, and I want them to last. So that's why I love synthetic products like this. They will last. They will stand the test of time. This is, these are chips, gemstone chips. I'll show you what they are in a minute. These are my little cabs I made. And these are just size 11 seed beads from Caravan. I keep all my chips in spice bottles like this. They're very easy to store. I can see my colors really well. If you can, remember to put your labels in there so you remember what's in there. I didn't always have a label because of who, depends on who I bought them from. These I happened to buy from a very reputable rock and gem dealer in the area. And he had these beautiful blue topaz chips. And so I put the label in the jar. And I use these. I've been using gemstone chips for years and years. They're very economical. They are beautiful. And they work really well. This is some jade. I don't remember what kind. Some kind of jade. See, I didn't get a label. I didn't put a label in there. I didn't put one on the outside. My bad. Put a label on there so you know what you have. This brown is just goldstone. You can get chips, gemstone chips, in almost any flavor. Almost any kind of stone. Even precious stones. I've seen them in ruby. I've seen them in sapphire. Yes, they're expensive. Yes, they are usually very tiny, and usually the quality is not super high. However, if that's what you want in your work, go for it. Get them. Buy them. Let's see. What else? I can't think of anything else. That was it. This is just going to be very short and sweet. I just wanted to explain what I use, why I use it, and hopefully that will be helpful to people who are just starting, just learning, aren't really sure what to buy or why or where. All of this material you can buy all of these supplies online. If you're in the U.S., Fireline is available at every single sporting goods store in the country. Wildfire is available at lots of bigger craft stores. It's also available online at Beading supply sites. Nymo is available from all beading supply sites all over the place. I'm not sure where it's manufactured. I don't know. Wildfire is made in the USA, and so is Fireline, made in the USA, if that's important to you. It isn't to me, but if it is to you, go for it. That's it. Have a great rest of the weekend, and try to stay safe if you're in this current storm system that we're supposed to get later in this afternoon with ice and snow, and going to work tomorrow is not looking real good. If we get an inch of ice, I won't be driving. So, ladies, gentlemen, stay happy, stay inspired.